order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Verification of notice.
The meeting was properly noticed at Hearings Lake Ripley Inn, the Cambridge Post Office, the Town of Oakland Town Hall, and the Town of Oakland website.
Thank you. Move on to number 3, public comment. Is anybody here that would like to make? Come on up. Hi, Sheila.
Hello. Good afternoon, everybody. Weird being on this side of the table for a change. Thanks for your time. I'd like to make comment on three things quickly. Number one would be encouraging the board to respond to any efforts by the remaining 4 of the IGA to get together and discuss potential changes that would make it palatable for us to consider returning. Our current situation was intended to be a temporary situation from the beginning. We did say at one point that we were going to establish a committee to, reach out and to look into these things, and to my knowledge, that hasn't happened yet. I think this is extremely important. There's been a lot of developments as far as the remaining 4 go. We have almost an entirely new board. Kristen Blackwood is currently the president of the Fire Commission, which is a very good thing. We have a new treasurer as well, or they have, I should say, have a new treasurer. They're making efforts to mark up changes to the intergovernmental agreement. Cambridge also applied for the innovation grant that I spoke about last year, late last year, that the state was providing funds for. It was approved, and they have someone that began a study to work on the fire and EMS situation and to try and develop more efficient plans of operation. So there are a lot of things heading in a good direction there, and I think that it would behoove us to not write it off completely. I understand that, Laura, you're working with some of the people from Jefferson County, and that's great too, but I think we have to keep all of our options open before making any commitments. Last year we noted that we would need to make a decision by July 1st about whether or not we would entertain returning, and that date is quickly approaching and still nothing has been done. I understand that Chris Bruning has reached out at least twice, so I expect that there will be some people reaching out to you guys shortly, and I would hope that the board as a whole would consider at least entertaining discussion, especially if the 4 are getting together to talk about potential changes to the IGA. Oakland wouldn't necessarily have a vote in that topic, but certainly could be there to provide comment, because it would definitely affect us being the largest potential member. So that's how I'll leave that. The short-term rental topic has come up again, and I'm glad to see that. Had a good meeting with Joy and with Susan and with Laura Lowry a little over a week ago, and I sent in this past Monday, an updated research booklet based on the comments that we had during that conversation and updated research information. I hope that it will be shared with all of you so that you will be able to start looking at this seriously. There's a lot to be done in that area. It affects local safety, it affects potential liability on our part, as a town. It also would aid in being able to address complaints by establishing an ordinance and making sure that there's a local property manager identified according to state statute as well. And then the final thing I'd like to just make a quick comment on is the developers agreement for the reserve. Had not seen any part of that while I was on the board. I understand there will be some discussion about that tonight, and I would hope that that would be available for people to be able to look at, especially in light of some of the things that happened with Cambridge in the last 10 years and various agreements that were done there, which turned out not to be in the best interest of Cambridge. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Are there any other public comments? Hey, Jackie.
Hello.
Hello.
So I'm Jackie Fry, and I used to live at 707 Townsend Street in Cambridge, and now I live at W9098 Blue Waters Pass in the town of Oakland. And I just want to say thank you, obviously, to all the new board members. It's awesome of all of you guys to serve. My hope, though, I'm a lifelong resident of Cambridge, and my hope is that once and for all, people and communities, and you guys, a lot of people have heard this from me before, the communities can come together and figure this out instead of kicking the can and kicking the can and kicking the can. I hope and pray that new board members can bring some new light to this. And I personally, from Cambridge and now in the town of Oakland, but still Cambridge, worry about myself. I live, well, my address is Cambridge. I saw you kind of looking at me funny. My address is Cambridge, so.
That I understand,
have a
but what are
question?
you talking about that you hope
The
they?
fire and EMS.
Oh,
Yep,
okay.
yep,
Sorry
sorry.
about that.
sorry. Fire and EMS. That's my biggest concern. And for myself, my family, elderly people, different things, if you make the call, because of the situation. So I hope, my hope, before I'm dead, is that somebody can finally resolve this issue. And somebody, meaning out of 5 municipalities that were formed the commission, I think. Lake Mills, Cambridge, Rockdale, Christiana. Who am I missing?
Oakland.
Oakland.
Oakland! Oakland, yes. So I just wanted to say that I hope somebody can put on their big boy pants and whether it's here, Cambridge, the commission, or something, because we need it and our community needs it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie.
Thank you.
Were there any other members of the
Do you
public?
want me to speak now or when the operator license comes up?
Or when the operator
Right.
license, yes.
Okay, seeing no further public comment, we'll move on to number 4, approval of minutes from May 20th Board of Review, May 20th Board meeting, and June 10th, 2025 Town Board meeting. So we'll just go individually. We'll start with the May 20th Board of Review.
I'll move to approve the minutes from the May 20th Board of Review.
Okay, we have a motion by Joy. Would anyone like to second?
Second.
Okay. Any comments? Hearing none. All in favor of approval of the May 20th Board of Review meeting minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion passes. Move on to the May 20th Board meeting. Would anybody like to make a motion?
I'll move to approve the May 20th minutes.
Okay, we have a motion from Jimmy.
Second.
We have a second. Any comments or changes anyone would like to make? Okay, hearing none. All in favor of the May 20th Board meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, Motion passes. And now we'll move on to the last one, the June 10th, 2025 Town Board meeting. That's also in your packet. Would anyone like to make a motion?
So moved.
Okay, we have a, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Again, anything that anyone sees that needs changing? Okay. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, motion passes. So we'll move on to our fire chiefs reports. We have 2 fire chiefs here.
Chief, you want to go? You got it.
Good evening.
Hi, thank you
Thanks
for
for
having me. Michael, nice to see you.
Good to see you as well.
I wanted to start tonight by sharing a significant piece of news about our department. As you may recall, about this time last year, we had ISO, which is the insurance agent evaluation agency, come in to evaluate our department. We were last evaluated in 2019 and had a rating of 3. And as you may recall, when they rate fire departments, they rate them on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being the best fire department you can have, and it's mainly reserved for large metropolitan departments that have a lot more resources than we would ever have, all the way up to a 10, which is basically no fire service. So we went through the evaluation, and I'm extremely proud to say tonight that we've been re-rated as an ISO Class 2. It's a significant achievement for our department. To put it in some perspective, we're now in the top 4% of fire departments in Wisconsin and the top 5% of fire departments nationwide. So significant achievement for our staff, and many years coming. I feel like the coach that took over a championship team. A lot of this was well in place before I got here, but we're extremely proud of this. ISO looks at more than just our fire department. It looks at the water supply capabilities of the communities, our risk reduction and prevention, which is school talks, CPR training, and community outreach, and also our dispatch centers, performance, protocols, backup hardware, and certainly a deep dive into the fire department. After we put together about 3 months of paperwork for them, we spent a day with the auditor, and everything we said that we do, we're called out and have to prove it. And so they'll look at our training records, our vehicle check records, our maintenance logs, our call reports, and see how we respond, with what type of personnel we respond, and are we doing the job we say we're doing. So to wrap this up, we're very, very happy about this. This is just being announced tonight. I announced it to our staff just before I got here, and we'll be talking to the city council tonight. So it's a big day for us, and I'm
Congratulations.
pleased to share with all of
Congratulations.
you. Other news is the MOE has been sent out. I trust that you got it. So we
Thank
can
you
get that
so
off our
much.
backs and wait till next year. And we continue to sit on the EMS work group for Jefferson County. The town chair and I, and the town chair of Koshkanon also sits on that. So we're well represented, and hoping to make some progress on some EMS, I won't call it reform, but some funding options, and bringing the county together for some consistent service levels, and see how we can make it even better than we have it now. So I appreciate you working with us on that.
Well, thank you for all you're
And
doing.
lastly, we continue to work on the contract and sit with you on that, along with the other township chairs. And I appreciate the spirit of cooperation. And I can't say your township is well represented by the town chair. And we do deep dives into many areas of the fire service and the contract to make sure you guys are represented well and you understand everything that we're doing. So I appreciate you there, and hopefully we'll have this wrapped up in the next couple of meetings.
Yeah, and then we'll bring it to the board
Yes.
for
And
further discussions.
certainly I'll be here to answer any questions and explain anything that you have, so everybody has an understanding of what the contract looks like. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions. No?
I guess
Great
not.
job.
Good,
Well,
thank you.
Thank you,
All
and
right.
congratulations again.
Exciting
That's
stuff.
wonderful.
Follow that.
Good evening, Chief Russ.
Good evening. Well, I don't have as exciting news as that. But the department information was sent out, so hopefully you all should have received that.
Yep.
And I apologize, I just got back from a boat fire out on County Highway B, so. Total for the month, fire department ran 32 calls. 9 of those were EMS, 2 no transports, 7 of them were transports that were handled by Lake Mills fire staff. Ryan Brothers handled approximately 50 calls. Totally, we're running about, if you combine Ryan Brothers and us, we're running about 80 to 90 calls a month, which is perfect for the size of department that we are. Inspections are being completed. We were at 285 of 310. I know that the folks were down in the Oakland area today and last week as well. And inspections have been doing really well, so.
We passed.
Trainings, we've been focusing a lot on ladders, testing, maintenance, and operation of them, rescuing victims, second-story floors, setting up the truck, doing operations with that, and one of the things that was a requirement of all our staff, if they wanted to work on the ladder truck, they had to do a ladder climb on it, and everybody has completed that. So, PR events, we've been busy with CPR classes again. Last one was Rock Lake Activity Center. We did the McDonald's Touch-A-Truck at the end of May, which raised over $1,400. So thank you to everybody that came out. And crews have been out doing the MDA, Fill the Boot. That's a thing that always occurs around Memorial Day weekend. And the Lake Mills area has been a great supporter of that. And this year we've raised over $6,000 already with one outing. We have one department that always seems to beat us on an annual basis, and this year we're really gunning for them, so hopefully we'll catch them. But any questions that you might have for me?
The reports that Chief Russ referring to are in your packet, last page. They were on the table tonight, not in the packet that you received in your mailbox, but the ones that were on the table.
We did have the quarterly meeting. I don't know if you guys want to speak on behalf of that, but quarterly meetings we do every quarter. So next one will probably be coming up here August, September time.
Yeah, we had 3 of us attend, and I think we can all agree that it was really a good thing that you're having these quarterly meetings. It provides a lot of good information to us, very transparent. So thank you for hosting that for all the towns that you represent, service.
The idea behind it is it gives the towns not only to interact with myself, but also the other towns that are also part of the group. So if there's any questions or concerns that one township is having, they kind of can bounce stuff off of each other. So it opens up that form of, networking and able to talk about things that are going on. And it kind of gives me then a sense of what is the township's need from the fire service as well. So it kind of gives me a direction to go in.
Yeah, it was good to talk to quite a few. I think all of us were talking to the different towns, and it's good to be able to reach out with them and speak to them once in a while.
All right.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Have a
Thank
good
you.
meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
We'll move on then to police chief's report. Our
Good
police
evening.
chief, good evening. Our police chief couldn't be here, so thank you for coming.
Yes, so I have notes from Chief Leonard, so I can answer questions the best I can, but if there's some we can't address tonight, just reach out to her and she can take care of you in that aspect. So we received a extra patrol request from the N4300 apartment building of Park Road, which is that apartment complex on the west side by Ripley Park over there. In regards to that private road that runs between Park and Alpine Village, there's been an increase of traffic using that, which is a private road, as we all know, but the public seems to be abusing that more often. It's been explicitly put by the property owner that it's only for emergency use only, so we're going to be upping our extra patrol in that area just to make sure only the apartment residents going up to the apartment building are using it, and then the rest of the drive is considered emergency. So And then in relation to Park Road, we're still receiving a couple speeding violations being reported from people, so we're up in the speed enforcement as well in there. Town of Oakland received a donation from Enbridge in the amount of $5,000. With that donation, we purchased 2 defibrillators, one for our squad car and one for the boat, which we've never been able to do before. So it'll be very nice to have that out on the lake. And as we found out years ago with Dave Warner, it would have been helpful on, for sure, 2 different circumstances out there. So those are very welcome gifts that we've been waiting for. And then the one that we had in the squad was about to expire. So the timing was very good, excuse me, for that. We're still looking to fill some vacancies for part-time officers, specifically for working patrol hours on nights and weekends where we have a little bit of a deficit right now. We're also looking to try to fill in a couple of voids with our boat patrol as well. So that's an ongoing thing with Chief Leonard in terms of trying to get some recruitment going for that. As for the boat itself, we're hoping to finally be able to get that up and running this weekend. We've had, between weather problems, mechanical problems with the boat itself, and availability of staff, we have not been able to actually get it out of the garage up until last weekend. It is now down at the marina and ready to go, so we're hoping we can get that consistently where we're used to it being for staffing. So any questions that I should take back to Chief Leonard, or?
Well, I mean, we feel it's important, obviously, that we get staff to have the lake patrol. I mean, that's been a long history there, and it's done, obviously had great results.
Absolutely, yep.
It's for safety and everything else, so do everything you can to get that going again.
Yeah.
Anything we can do to help, let us know.
Right. And I connect with Chief Leonard too. If I get a complaint, like I've gotten some of the complaints you were talking about, I'll forward them on to her so that they can address it. And so that's working out really well. Her communications and the communications of the rest of the officers is very good. So I'm very pleased with that. I think it's going very well.
Yeah, she's usually active on our group chat almost daily, sometimes twice a day, so communication is very, very well with her, so it's a welcome change.
Good.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, last week we did have some parking and other problems on Sleepy Hollow with the rental property that's there. And they were having trouble getting people to come out and take care of those problems. But we know you're not full staff, and you're part-time, so they would call Jefferson County, and sometimes they didn't get much of a response from Jefferson County either,
Oh, really?
so.
Okay. I'll be sure to have Chief Leonard reach out to the county as well to kind of address that.
Yeah, wasn't it that they were kind of put on the back burner when they called and made a complaint that they were, the people that were renting the short-term rental were parking on where they're not supposed to be parking, and it was hard to get enforcement on that.
Okay. Yeah, I'll pass that along to her. As you know, also the counties, they're finally kind of improving on their numbers for patrol, but they're still kind of stretched thin as well. So our area car here can be anywhere from Jefferson all the way over to almost Lake Mills. So,
Yeah.
but I'll make sure she mentions that just so we can stay on the sheriff's office as well about that to make sure, as their resources allow, they take care of our complaints for that.
Right. Well, and we actually don't have a short-term rental ordinance yet, but if they're parking on somebody else's property, they shouldn't be. I don't know if there's something that you guys can do about that then.
Yeah, if they're on someone else's property, absolutely. There's things we can do, and I can't remember, is Sleepy Hollow actually posted as a no parking zone? I think it is.
I don't know. No,
No?
I guess we don't have a sign down there.
I don't think it's not a no parking area.
It's not posted.
Is it can you park on that road?
Yes.
So if they're parking on the road, there's nothing that can be done. But if somebody's in a no parking area, we don't need we have an ordinance for parking. So regardless of who is parking illegally, you can address that.
Correct,
Correct.
like if they're blocking a driveway or, the other thing that we may encounter on Sleepy Hollow and a lot of our town roads is if it's narrow enough and we can justify that an ambulance or a fire truck can't get
Oh,
through,
yeah.
that gives us more power to do so. If it becomes more of an issue, it may be good to bring it before the board to have it posted as well. That makes it even easier and there's no doubts for enforcement and the public.
Mhm. All right, thank you.
Any other questions?
I'm good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. for your-
Appreciate it.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah. So our next agenda item is related. It's discussion of possible action to hire Jessica Kleist as a new police officer. A couple of weeks ago, I met with Vanessa, Chief Leonard, and Jessica. We were speaking to her about having her come on board as one of our part-time officers. And she has a good resume. She was very impressive. And I did want to just read this. It's just a synopsis that Chief Leonard put together for us. So it says, I'm happy to welcome Jessica Kleist to the Town of Oakland Police Department. I have known Jessica for 13 plus years in law enforcement. She is currently employed by the Rock County District Attorney's Office as a legal support specialist. She is also active with the Rock River Safety Patrol enforcing boat safety and boating laws in Wisconsin. Jessica had previous experience as a patrol officer with Village of Palmyra, Town of Fulton, Village of Clinton, and Stoughton PDs. Jessica has an associate's degree in criminal justice administration and brings knowledge and experience which will be beneficial in her patrol activities here in the Township of Oakland. She will be sworn in June 20th and will begin her field training with 2 of our officers. And she will be helping with patrol during evenings and weekends. So that was what we had really talked to her about too, her ability to work on the evenings and weekends. And as was just mentioned, that's where we're lacking some patrol. We will just need to vote on hiring her as one of our new police officers.
Okay, I'll make a motion to hire Jessica Cleet, is that how you say it?
I'm not sure.
Kleist? As their new officer.
Kleist, yeah. Okay, we have a motion from Jimmy. Does anyone want a second? Second from Tom. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor of hiring Jessica Kleist as one of our new police officers, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, great.
Congratulations.
Yeah, this is wonderful. Okay. Hello.
Yep. Jeff.
Just trying to help you speed it up so you can get to the Brewer game.
Oh, good idea.
Okay, road supervisor's report, discussing
I like your
possible
attitude.
action. Okay, so we didn't have it in the packet because just this afternoon we received some quotes, so you should find that in your packet for just discussion.
Yes, did everybody get this sheet?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. Last month I talked about possible new product for lining culverts, and I was waiting for a price.
Yep.
Yeah, that is not financially feasible.
Oh.
So, I came up with some other prices to fix that culvert on South Oakland, and Red Feather, and on the end of Beach Drive, or Beach Lane, I should say. Them are for the culvert replacement prices. Oakland Pass, that paving, gotta have the company there to pave over the culvert when we're done. Anyway, and since there's some pretty good money left in the budget, I asked to get a price on that, because you can, mobilization, you can get a better price. So that's why that Oakland Pass paving project would be up there. And then I also came up with the total, and what our budget was, and South Oakland approval last month, what that total was, and what would be left if everything got, what's on this sheet tonight, other than South Oakland got approved. Last year, we didn't use all our money for roads because of the ongoing costs of fire and EMS uncertainties. This year, I really wouldn't want to leave that much money left unspent when we're already in a situation where we should have more money budgeted for roads, as we all know. That's why Oakland Pass got thrown in there. It is a road should be considered as a future, definitely. That's one of the reasons why it's in there. So definitely need the approval for the culvert cost for South Oakland, because they're coming to pave that on the 7th of July, if you'd be so kind to do that. Since we can't line it, we have to open it up.
That's the 18,000?
Yes, yep. And I had to waited as long as I could to have them come and do the work for Mr. Bennett's greenhouse. That's why they chose the 7th, and if we were gonna line that culvert, it wouldn't have mattered, but with that cost, it would have been $90,000 to line that culvert.
How much?
$90,000. So we can replace it quite a few times for that.
And that should still last for quite a while. with
Oh, yeah, we're putting
replacement.
a plastic one in instead of the metal. So it won't rust, it won't move, so it'll probably last forever as long as nobody lights a match to it.
And then regarding the Oakland Pass, when we were driving around and talking about South Oakland Road, we're also looking at all the roads and the conditions of all of them, what would be a good idea to replace in the repave in the next year or two, and Oakland Pass was one of those that was really up for repaving. We just didn't think at the time that we would have money in the budget, but since we do now, and we are needing to have them out there to pave over the culvert, it just seemed like the best road to be doing at this time.
I looked at possibly one of the cul-de-sacs in Oakland Park Estates, but we don't have enough money for that. That's a total rebuild on that job, so that would be over double what Oakland Pass would be, and we just wouldn't have the money to do it.
So ideally, you want approval for these 6 projects, right?
Well, South Oakland's been already approved, so
So 5 projects.
4,
4.
3 culverts and a road, an
Yep.
additional paving road.
And the last one is a total.
Oh, I see.
That's the total.
And we still have 10,000 left, you said?
Yeah,
after
so
that.
if something else popped up, I mean, one culvert could blow out and we could use that up real quick, so.
I think if this is what you think our best use of the money is, I would be I'm for it.
Yeah, let's-
I just don't want to see money left on the table anymore.
No, we gotta use it. We got 51 miles of road, so
Yeah, and if we only paved a mile a year,
it's gonna be a while.
yeah.
All right, I'll make the motion to approve, you wanna do them individually, or the whole project as a whole?
Could do the whole project as a whole.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve Jeff's proposal for road projects for this year.
I'll second it.
Okay, any further questions? Okay, hearing none. All in favor of approval of the 3 culverts and paving of Oakland Pass this year, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Motion passes.
He told me it'd probably be in the middle of August by the time he got to it. I said, that'd probably be really good. Summer is coming, you know, to the end. We were gonna do that Beach Lane culvert middle of July. And that'll give us plenty of time for that to settle before they pave it.
Great, thank you.
Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay. All right, we'll move on to number 9, discussion and possible action on town chair designee resolution. That is in your packet. So it'd be resolution 2025-01. It got brought up last month with the burn ordinance. Most of the ordinances and permit applications just mention a chair, not a designee, but in the event that a chair now or in the future was away for some reason, temporarily incapacitated, we would have the ability to as a board, appoint somebody else to take the chair role on until the town chair was able to fulfill their duties again. Do you want to take a look at that?
Michael, were you able to review that
Yeah,
resolution?
I did take a look at this, and everything here looks good, so that in the event that Laura is going to be temporarily out of commission for whatever reason, or her successor, you guys would have the ability to then appoint an interim chair without having to actually fill the vacancy itself, because there would not be technically a vacancy at that time. So that would come up at either a special meeting or a regular meeting, depending on the timing of things, and would be done at your discretion, depending on, again, the nature of the situation.
Makes sense.
So there's no problem with any ordinance being enforced with the designee if the ordinance doesn't specifically state chair or designee?
Correct, yeah. So this person would fill that role at that point in time. So I would not have a concern.
So it would be considered the chair then? The designee would be actually considered the chair?
Be doing the duties of the chair.
Interim chair?
Yes, interim chair, in essence,
Right.
yeah.
So anything, because we would have a lot of documents that we would need to change if you had to put designee in there. There are quite a few. So this way, anything that just says chair, they could sign during this time period.
Okay.
You know, it might be somebody going out of town for a month in the wintertime. I'm not planning on doing that. I don't do that, but
Well, in
in
the
the
case of a burn ban, that's what we ran into in 2023, was we had to issue a burn ban, and Ted was leaving on vacation. So that's one reason in that ordinance, we put town chair or designee.
right, and this would solve it for that ordinance as well as all our other ordinances and permit applications that we have out there.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2025-01.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, a motion and a second. Any further comments? Hearing none, all in favor of resolution 2025-01, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries.
This is Resolution 2501. We haven't got to the ordinance yet.
Okay, so we will move on now to discussion of possible action on ordinance 2025-30, open burn and fireworks ordinance. We talked about that last month, and we left it for review and comments to be emailed out if you had anything else that you wanted to revise. I didn't get anything, any emails about that. Susan didn't as well. We changed from Section 1 Ordinance 2020, or just Ordinance 30 to Ordinance 2023-30. And the only other change that I made for discussion is on 30 point, sorry. I did not highlight that.
It's hard to find, I'm looking for it too there, but well, we changed from 5 to 3.
Yes,
Yep.
so I had discussions with Leanna Spencer at the Lake District, and there's some concerns about the fireworks right on the lake and in the lake watershed area. There has been some testing last year of water quality right before and right after the fireworks. There was a slight increase in perchlorate, nothing that's alarming, but just to keep that, okay, it's on page 6, to keep that, the lake safe. Leanna and I had talked about limiting how many fireworks displays there would be in that area. Last month, we had talked about 5. Since that time, she received some additional information and clarification regarding the perchlorates and the testing that was done, and the Lake Districts now has revised their suggestion of 3 permits per year.
Yeah, it's a recommendation of the Lake District to go for 3 for now. We've also put it into our budget to do additional testing because our first round of testing last year was grant funded. So I think it was about $700 a year maybe. So we added that into our upcoming draft budget, so that will be included. And we'll keep monitoring the area. So we think it's reasonable to get to 3 for the health of the lake and the surrounding areas. This does not include the outer skirts.
No, it does not include the outer skirts because that won't impact the lake at all.
How many permits do we usually get?
1.
Okay.
Yeah, so it shouldn't, I mean,
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
it's yeah, it shouldn't be a problem
We all know
today,
the
but
one.
we didn't require a permit previously, before 2023.
Correct.
So it's hard to gauge.
Well, the fact that we only got 1, that's,
Right. I mean, we do have a couple others, but they are outside the urban area. So like I said, that really isn't in the watershed and won't be impacting the lake.
Right.
And then, like Jimmy said, they'll continue to monitor. If at some point the water quality testing indicates that we need to revise from 3, then it could be brought up again at a later date.
So you've only gotten 1 this year?
1 last year, water testing.
Well-
Oh, permitting, yes.
Have you got, at the end of the firework season last year, someone was in here already applying for this year?
No.
Wasn't there
that-
someone?
Okay,
Steve,
he came in,
it was probably last
no.
January or so,
Yeah, it was a couple months ago he
Yeah.
came in.
Yeah.
but we've only had 1 in the urban service area. We have 2 outside the urban service area.
Oh, okay. That's what, okay.
Mhm.
So totally, you've had 3.
Correct.
And that won't be limited outside the urban area,
So is the bowling alley considered outside or inside?
inside.
And we have not received a permit from the bowling alley.
Okay.
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 I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 2025-30.
I'll second it.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, all in favor of approval of ordinance number 2025-30, open burning and fireworks regulations, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay,
And the permits that go with that ordinance are
They're
were
in
on-
there.
on the table.
okay, they're on the table. And we
Yeah.
saw those last month, and they have not been revised since that time.
Keeping in the spirit of Jeff, I want to keep moving forward.
All right,
Thank you.
Yeah.
good.
Good evening, Deanna.
Hello, I'm Deanne Schneider. I represent John Didion, Oakland Hills LLC, and the Preserve at Oakland. We are here tonight to update the board as to the progress we've made, to request approval and execution of our developers agreement, the emergency access, or developers agreement, emergency access easement, and the stormwater maintenance agreement, and to request the town that they approve our final plat. The last time we have seen some of you would have been the planning committee that was on the 6th of May, so we've made quite a bit of progress in between. back and forth with attorney, I'm just gonna call you Michael.
That's
I
totally
tried last time
fine
to
with you.
pronounce
Yep.
your name.
No need, you're good.
So we've made a lot of progress there. We've worked with your engineers successfully to go back and forth and answer and alleviate any of their concerns. The progress report for all of you is we've been very happy with Gallett's. They've been on time, on budget. They've completed all of the structural and material grading. They've taken care of the stormwater pond installation, and they have started replacing topsoil on lots already. So we're making really good progress. Forest construction is taking care of our sanitary laterals and manholes. They've put in 4,600 feet of pipe so far and 10 manholes. We're going to start testing on the system on Thursday. The schedule for construction, we will be doing the west side of County Road A, the entrance grading, the week of the 15th. The mandrel, which is the testing basically between each manhole, is happening, and the pressure testing will be June 19th. We'll be starting landscaping the week of June 22nd, constructing road beds and bringing in rock the week of the 29th of June. Passing lane on County Road A will be going in June 29th, the week of. We'll be doing the televised testing of the sanitary system on July 3rd and doing the base layer of asphalt the week of the 6th of July. And then we plan to complete the subdivision construction the week of July 13th. So we've really made some very impressive progress and been very happy to both support local contractors and have them just do a fantastic job of staying on task and on budget. And I think they've done a great job too, if you've driven down the streets, of keeping the streets clear and not causing any havoc for anyone. So we've been pleased with that. The community interest so far has been very high. We did release pricing to area realtors, to prospects, have been getting that out. We've had multiple builder appointments already. I walked the site today 3 times, once right before coming in, so I had to change out of high-vis clothes and get ready. We will be in the Parade of Homes, so you're welcome to come see us out there. We'll be in the Tim O'Brien Homes garage. If you're not a builder, you're not able to have an actual home site. You have to rent a garage from the Builders Association, so that's where you can find us if you'd like to come and see us, learn anything more. If anyone wants any information, I'm the contact person for any of that. You're certainly welcome to connect them with me. I will be getting Susan a list of all the pricing and everything, because I'm sure you have people, I've seen it, come in and ask questions. So it's been very exciting to just see I guess the local interest in bringing not just more tax base, but hopefully more business, more rooftops to our area, more kids in our schools, etc. We did also hire a premier landscaper architect that is out of Madison. He's been in local politics too. His name is Paul Skidmore. And he's done a lot of the landscape architecture for some really premium subdivisions in the area. And the goal with bringing him in is to have a really inviting entrance and have our signage, landscaping, and pond design speak to the natural beauty of the area and just keeping with that. The things that we need to complete before we can actually start to see product go vertical, our hope today is that we will be asking you to approve agreements in the final plat. Once that happens, we have Jefferson County's approval on the 30th of this month. The DOA has to review and approve everything. Then we will be recording the final plat and getting everything done. Our goal is in July. Then the title policy master will be done as well in July. We're using Frontier Title out of Johnson Creek for that. And then new home construction can begin in August. So that is our trajectory. I see that on your agenda, you have each item spelled out differently. So it looks like you've requested the final plat be the first thing to be discussed?
That's what,
Okay.
so yes, so the first item, unless you had more you wanted to say.
I don't, so if
Okay.
there's any questions of us, otherwise, I guess, has everyone seen everything?
Yeah, I just have one
Questions?
comment or question. I know we've had some concerns about the silt fences and some of the runoff, and I know we have rain coming, so hopefully somebody's on top of that. We don't have jurisdiction, the town does, so it's a little cumbersome for us to take those complaints to the county and whoever else is supposed to work with those things. So
So the good
I'm gonna call
news-
you next time.
You certainly can. Yeah, you're welcome to.
But just please
so-
keep an eye on that, because we have rain coming and there's a lot of exposed soil there, and a lot of
Yeah.
people are watching for that.
You bet. The silt fence location, actually, John does site walks almost daily to check the silt fencing. And he does a construction report weekly where he reports whether or not there's been any water runoff that has even approached or gotten close to our silt fencing. And so far, there's been nothing that's gotten that far. So there's just been so much soil and so much dirt that it hasn't made it down to the silt fences yet. So,
And it's my
If there-
understanding the DNR will be coming out later this week for inspection
correct.
to check on all of the silt fences. And then if there's anything that needs to be added or repaired, then they will put together that report and they'll have to take care of that
Address
then.
that, yeah.
Mhm.
And, part and parcel to that too, Jimmy, we have the site droned daily. So that's been kind of fun. Eventually that's gonna go into some marketing information as well to just kind of watch, how does all this come together? Obviously, it's a lot of meetings with people like yourselves and time and energy that goes on that, but just getting to watch. So many people have never gone through this before. I know this is new for the town of Oakland too, so we just want to be collaborative with all of you and sharing that information as we have it.
Well, let's go through each of the items, and then when we get to those items, we can talk about that a little bit more and see if there's any specific questions, and Michael can also go through any questions you have or the process that was done. So the first one, number 11, discussion and possible action on the final plat of the preserve at Oakland. So first off, everyone had seen the you might have seen copies of this, I can't remember, the preliminary plat, and it was the entire subdivision. At this time, the plat that the final plat will be voting on is only the phase 1. And then they'll have to come back when they're ready to do each of the phases. So all of the attorneys, the engineers, the county, everybody has taken a very close eye on this. There's been a lot of comments and changes. I think a lot of due diligence had been done with this. What would you like to add?
Yeah, as Laura mentioned,
share this
this
one?
is phase 1. There's 45 lots here. This was also shown on the preliminary plat that you all approved a month or two ago. This document, as Laura also said, has been reviewed by just about everybody that can review it. Matt Zengel at the county has indicated that this document is in final form for his purposes and what he'll be recommending to the county committee. Our town engineer has also looked at this and confirmed it's in acceptable form as well. I will note there are several notes on here. This on page 1 of the final plat that indicate certain restrictions and certain details that could be applicable to certain areas in the subdivision. You guys not have it in your packet by chance?
We have this in our packet. It's kind of
Okay.
small to see. There's just a lot. Everyone got a copy of it in their email. If you had a chance to look at it at that
Too
point.
much
Yes.
paper.
I would have sent it out last week.
Yeah, after it was,
Yep, so the bottom of page 1 there does contain a few notes. You'll see actually there's a couple blanks in there. Those blanks are going to be referencing the stormwater maintenance agreements recording number with the Register of Deeds, and the same goes for the development agreement and the public emergency access agreement. So all of these lots are subject to those agreements and ensuring that there's compliance with them, because Oakland Hills, the developer here, will be the owner of all of these lots as soon as the subdivision occurs. So, and Oakland Hills will be the developer with regard to the development agreement. So the benefit of having these documents in place, having them referenced on the plat, is so that purchasers know that there are certain requirements that you've got to abide by, specifically with regard to the stormwater maintenance, which will be the most important long-term document, and also to some extent the development agreement, which would be more of a short-term fix, mainly doing something that would be completely an opposite of a residential home, and perhaps getting involved in some kind of significant commercial activity or doing some really crazy grading that was totally not contemplated. Likely not the developer that'd be doing that, it'd be some future owner. But bottom line is, there's general restrictions that this plat and then the development documents contemplate. So with that, we can certainly open up for questions. I'd be looking for a motion here tonight that it would be motion to approve this final plat with any changes being included from Jefferson County or the Department of Administration, who are still technically down the road here and reviewing. I don't anticipate there really being any changes, but I don't want to have to come back merely because the DOA wants some kind of information tweaked on this plat with regard to their review that really we have no control over. And then it would also be subject to the recording of the development agreement and stormwater maintenance agreement and emergency access easement agreement, which are all on the agenda this evening for approval.
Does anyone have any questions or?
So it's for phase 1 only?
Yes.
Phase 1 only. With regard to the final plat here today, the development agreement and stormwater maintenance agreement contemplate the phase 2 recording of the plat and the phase 3 recording without us having to do a second development agreement, second stormwater maintenance agreement. Of course, sometimes things on site can change. That's just a matter of practicality. If we do have to do an amended development agreement or amended stormwater maintenance agreement, we would, of course, bring that back at that point in time. Right now, based on the documents that have been provided thus far, we don't anticipate that being the case. And the town engineer and Jefferson County have tried to review that through that lens as well.
This phase 1 also includes the Lot 2, which shows here the donation to the Lake District, correct?
Right.
That's what I'm seeing right here.
Yes, indeed.
And so this plat is also contingent on that donation. So that, I believe, is recorded on here as well, correct?
The outlaw, that should be referenced in the notes.
Yeah, it is referenced.
There is a donation agreement between the Lake Ripley Management District and the developer. And has that been executed yet, or will
Yeah.
it has?
Yeah. Do you have a copy of it? 'Cause if you don't, we should get it.
I have a copy of the final draft that was going to be circulated for signatures, but has that been also
Yes.
signed? Okay. By virtue of this plat getting recorded, that dedication will be officially taking effect pursuant to that agreement and then pursuant to how the plat reads right now.
Okay. So we'll just get you a copy of the final.
Yeah.
We'll get it to you, Susan, so you can.
Just to give the town board a larger grasp of everybody involved here, the town sanitary district does have a development agreement with the developer as well. I have a copy of that final draft. I'm sure I'll end up getting a signed copy. I believe there's a sewer easement agreement with them. There's this donation agreement, as you mentioned, and Jefferson County also has their own easement agreement as well for a certain area.
And the sanitary district had their own attorney, their
Mhm.
own
this
engineer
That's
that
all up to-
reviewed all of that. So that's not
Here.
something that the town did, since
Which is on
that
the
is
back
not
page,
in our
right?
jurisdiction. But they went through the same process there as we are going here.
Mhm.
Okay, so where is that on the map?
Shows it best on that, well, this kind of is in scale, kind of.
Okay.
What are you looking for?
The donation piece.
Yes, it's here. It's the kind of rectangular, long and thin.
Right, I
Says
was just
out-
looking
outline.
in reference
It's
to
on
the,
sheet 1 of 4, just kind of right in the middle.
Right, there's a sheet
This
index
is kind
map.
of the scale here, correct? So you
Correct.
can see it
Mhm.
kind of off to the
Yes.
left here.
Right.
Called out Lot 2, I guess.
Yeah, actually, on page 1, note 3, says Outlot 2 is for wetland preservation and open space purposes to be conveyed by separate instrument soon after this plat records to be owned and maintained by the Lake Ripley Management District. This separate instrument shall provide a temporary access easement until such time as the Phase 2 final plat records, which shall then dedicate a permanent easement for, between lots 78 and 79. So, yes.
Okay, we need a motion to approve the final plat.
Yes, with any changes included from Jefferson County and the Department of Administration, and the recording of a development agreement and stormwater maintenance agreement and
And
emergency,
easement.
emergency access easement. agreement.
Okay, I'll make that motion. Susan, do you have all that?
No, I don't.
That was a
but
great
I'll get it
motion.
from
Take it from
Michael.
Michael.
Motion to approve the final plat.
So moved.
So we're not doing them all separately?
No, we are doing it separately. But the final plat is only approved contingent on those,
The others.
the
being
other
Oh, of
approved.
those being approved,
Mhm.
okay.
plus anything from the county or the State Department of Administration. They will review it after we're done. And so if they have any slight changes, county, I doubt, because they have already,
They've reviewed this
they
thing enough
reviewed
times,
this
yeah.
many times. So it's highly unlikely, but
Susan, did you get the whole motion?
I did,
You did? Okay.
yes. That that you move to approve the final plat contingent on review by the Department of Administration, Jefferson County, DNR.
DOA.
I got
Or-
DOA.
no, just those two.
Just, okay.
Yep,
And approval of,
recording of
and recording of,
the 3 documents that are following the agenda.
Okay.
DA,
But it's the
stormwater.
approval of the plat for Phase 1.
The preserve at Oakland.
Correct.
Mhm. And then when they're ready to come back, we'll do the plat for Phase 2.
Okay.
We need a second.
Okay, anyone want a second?
Second.
Tom has second. Any further comments? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the plat has been approved. And now we will move on to discussion of possible action on development agreement. So you got a copy of that in your email as well. Last week, if you had a chance to look that over,
There is a copy on
There's-
each table.
there's a copy on each table. There was a lot of documents, so we just put one copy on each. Where's ours? And so the developers agreement, again, would encompass all 3 phases, as long as the Phase 2 and 3 hasn't had any changes between now and when they come back. You never know what could happen. But that takes that into account, so this would cover all of it. And this is only approved by us, not the county. This is just a document between,
Laura,
the
did
town
the
and the
towns,
developer.
did the town's requested changes come through to your satisfaction?
yes.
Okay.
Yes. There's been a lot of discussions on it, a lot of thought put into it. This protects the town so that when we take over the roads, that they have been developed to our standards. And we won't take those over until they're inspected and assured that they were properly constructed. What else would you like to
Yeah,
mention in here?
yeah, with regard to public improvements generally, that would be dedicated to the town. They have to be constructed to town standard before they're going to be dedicated to the town. And then once we accept them, there's also a guarantee period of 1 year to ensure that there's any defects, that they would be repaired by the developer. The developers also provided a letter of credit, which was actually in the form of an escrow deposit, if I recall correctly, yep. That amount was $818,000. That was actually,
my question, that's on file?
that's on file and being held with Susan.
Yes.
And that would provide us protection in the event that we need to complete certain repairs, take certain action with regard to this development agreement to ensure that there's compliance. If there's a grading issue that results, or if the developer just ceases to complete the development and just vacate the property and we have a stormwater concern, we can access the property and utilize the funds provided by I'm calling it the letter of credit because that's just a general term that's typically used, but it's in the form of a cash escrow agreement. Those funds were also deposited to allow for the pre-plat approval construction activity that is occurring as well. The developer understood that that was being done at his own, or at their own risk, and is still at their own risk until they get, complete approval by everybody, the three governmental entities that we've already discussed. There is also in here a developer payment with regard to fire tank protection, which I should apologize, it's not necessarily fire tank suppression, but more to fire protection generally, that being a high-capacity well that would need to be drilled for, in light of an expanded population, an expanded structure footprint that's going to be occurring nearby. That is in the form of a $5,000 payment that would be contributed at the time that the town decided to let a public construction contract for that public well. And then also, too, there will be $5,000 payments on the sale of the 10th, 20th, and 30th lot as well in the subdivision. So there could be potentially up to $20,000 available for the town to utilize to construct that high-capacity well, as that's going to be a growing concern as the town's population grows. Also, as we're exploring and are experiencing new service providers for fire and EMS, trying to grow strategically is something that the town is going to be more cognizant of as we move forward. This development is a kind of an example of that.
And this would not be exclusive to the subdivision. It could
Correct,
be
yes.
utilized for any fire anywhere. That could be, they can come and use it, and so that it's not limiting with that.
The installation, from my understanding too, is more in the location here at the town
Yes.
hall. and
That
not-
was generally intended, yes.
Yeah, not
Yes.
the subdivision.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, due to the location of it, yeah.
Mhm.
So that is pretty much a synopsis of this document. It's trying to lay out a framework for the developer to ensure they develop in a way that is going to be acceptable to the town and not overburden the town or Jefferson County.
You're comfortable with it?
I'm comfortable with it. Yep.
So when there are sections intentionally deleted, is that something that had been in there and
Yep.
taken out?
Yep, that is correct. And that is kind of a legal way of doing things in case the agreement itself references section numbers elsewhere. You don't have to go change the section number every single time, risk misstating the section number that you intend to reference. So by keeping the section there and just putting intentionally deleted, that's why that was there. I don't recall what that was deleting, but
Yeah,
whatever it was, I
there were
found it to be
two.
acceptable at that time, yeah. It was a while ago, yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to
Yes,
bring that
that
up.
was truly, genuinely, intentionally
My,
deleted.
my brain wanted to bring that up.
Yes, yes.
Well, and to the public comment, this will be recorded and then made public record upon recording, correct?
Yes, it will be. And frankly, it's a public record as we sit here today, if anybody would ever want a copy of it. The only other point I want to add, and this is probably new information for the developer, slight tweak in the logistics of these documents. The goal would be for this document and the next two that come on, developer could sign tomorrow or in the near future. Laura and Susan would also sign. They'd be available to sign tomorrow. This document, because it's getting recorded, needs to be notarized. And so it needs to be signed before notary for each of those individuals. Once everything is signed as far as these three agreements go, the town will just hold on to them. Once county says plat's good to go and we start getting signatures for that, then we'll get those documents over to Register of Deeds and then ready for recording. Everything's going to have to go in a certain order. As we've noted, the final plat has blanks on it because development agreement will get recorded at the Register of Deeds. That'll have a document number. someone will handwrite in on the final plat that document number. Then the next document will go, handwrite in that document number until all, the final plat is, got all the numbers it needs, and then final plat will get recorded. It'll be one of the last documents that goes.
Quite the process.
Yes,
Yes.
a lot of different hands in this pot.
So I'll make a motion to approve the development agreement
As
that's
presented.
provided to us.
Okay.
I'll second.
All right, we have motion and second. Any final comments? Hearing none, all in favor of the development agreement for the preserve at Oakland, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. So we'll move on to the next item, which is discussion and possible action on the emergency access easement for the preserve at Oakland. So this is, you could see it on the final plat. It was discussed on the preliminary plat as well. The county felt more comfortable having a second emergency access in the event that something happened, like a tree fell down across the main road, that there should be a second entrance for emergency vehicles. And the developer worked with the county and the fire chief to come up with the right location, as well as the construction, the width, and materials of that easement. And so it'll be a road that'll be maintained by gravel.
And it will have a gate, correct?
Yes.
It's going to be gated?
That's what I thought it had, will have a gate.
That's what the original agreement was, yes.
Yep.
That there would be a gate and a lock, and that we would be giving out that code.
Mhm.
So it wouldn't be accessed by anybody other than emergency vehicles.
Right, that's the sole purpose for this.
Correct.
So they will have to use the main entrance to come in and out. There'll be a turn lane. They worked with the county to ensure that all their criteria were being met, a passing lane and so forth that you could see on the drawings.
So why does this start with page 3?
That is a good question.
Let's start with page 3.
I just,
6, 7?
it doesn't look like we're missing anything,
Nope.
No.
are we?
No, we definitely are not.
That's numbered wrong, because page 2 is in the back and 4 and 5.
Page
are-
1 of 2 is for the exhibits. That's
Yeah,
denoting the
that's the
exhibits.
exhibit.
We can call that a scrivener's error. If you want to include that as part of your motion to reflect the updated page numbers, I can talk to
Page 1 is Exhibit
the
A.
developer's
Yep.
attorney, he sent me over this in final PDF form, or final Word form, and that's how it was saved. So, I mean, that was just
Way it-
scrivener's error, nothing
It's
I
in the
can't
back.
fix.
Sure, blame it on the clerical.
Exhibit A.
It's always somebody else's fault.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we, is Exhibit A, oh, here, the legal, is the legal document. So this will be included with all the rest of the documents to be recorded, and Susan and I will sign that along with the developer's agreement.
Correct, yep. And I will add too that this area is intended to be gravelled in the short term earlier on and to be utilized more as a construction entrance as well for the Phase 2 and Phase 3 developments when they come. So we don't end up with a lot of construction traffic driving throughout the subdivision after potentially we've taken ownership of roadways and then end up having large vehicles damaging the road as well.
So like you said there, then, so the maintenance of the gravel emergency road is going to be done by who?
The maintenance of it?
Of the road itself, because as soon as it rains, we're going to have wash off going wherever.
The HOA or the lot owners would be responsible for that maintenance.
For permanently?
Let me, hold on.
It would be the development.
Correct, yep. Yep.
Why wouldn't we just pave it?
Because the intention and the hope is that we are able to work with the DOT and find a different secondary access in the future, so that those two lots truly become long-term saleable without having that road through the middle of, you know, their boundary lines. So that's, we're pushing that a little bit further down the road with the DOT. So if we get to phase 2, and we're still having this discussion, we'll hopefully be further along with proposals to come back to.
Yeah, I mean,
the
just
board.
be aware of the runoff of the gravel, because that'll be constant,
Definitely.
right into wherever's next to it.
I think that's something we can address with the landscaper when he's working with us,
Yeah,
about
that's what I
having a
was
way to
thinking, too.
kind of pretty it up a little, but also put in the types of plantings with good, healthy roots that help with water absorption, so that we don't have as much coming into those lots.
He's not convinced.
Keep
Oh,
in-
I've seen gravel roads, there's a reason why they're not gravel anymore, right?
Right.
Because
Right.
they're all washes away.
Yep, keep in mind also too, that the next document that you'll be acting on is the stormwater
Stormwater
maintenance
runoff.
agreement
Exactly.
as well. So, the whole site was spec'd out, you know, to control stormwater and have it flow in a direction that was acceptable to our engineer, and the county for that matter. So, should be addressed too. But if it doesn't, then yeah, we'll have to deal with it, and we've got ways to deal with it.
It's certainly not something we want to be an eyesore for the community either. So we're in the same boat with caring about that you are.
Would you like to comment further, Jimmy?
I've said what I had to say.
You can't put a, what do you call it, fence and pretty that up with plantings to keep along this?
The silt fencing would be pretty unsightly, but I would think we could work more at it from a planting regard and just have it be something that John and I are gonna have to talk offline on how we address that, but
Okay.
yeah.
I mean, ultimately, the gravel's gonna run away.
Jim, there's gonna be 3-inch rock in that drive, and it's gonna be there so that it's not
That doesn't
used
move
other
anywhere.
than used for emergency.
Okay.
So 3-inch rock is not gonna wash.
Right.
And then when it comes for the construction use,
It's there now. I mean,
Yeah.
what you see is there now is pretty much what it will be, so it remains a construction site. It's called a tracking pad.
Tracking pads in there.
To collect mud.
Any further comments? Okay, hearing none, would anyone like to make a motion?
I'll make the motion to approve the emergency access easement plan.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, a motion by David and a second by Tom.
Just for the motion, the second,
Oh.
are we cool with the page numbers
Oh,
getting changed if need be?
Yes,
I'm okay either way.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay,
okay.
we'll get that cleaned up. As long as that's good, then we'll, we're good
Okay.
to
Do
go.
we need to include that in the motion?
Is it good with the motion?
You should.
to
Yeah.
Revise the page numbers? to
Yes.
be
Revise the
correct?
page. Mhm.
And the second?
Second.
All right.
Okay. All right, all in favor of the approval of the emergency access easement with the page numbers being corrected? Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Motion carries. We're going to move on now to the last one, discussion and possible action on the stormwater. We need that. Stormwater maintenance agreement for the preserve. So this is a pretty long document, and it was very long in the making. So it does include all of the stormwater management system plans, the road plans. This was gone over quite a few times with our town engineer. It was reviewed with all of the calculations. Comments were sent back a few times. I talked at length with the engineer on the town engineer on multiple occasions to ensure that we're not going to have any ponding on any of the properties, on the roads, making sure the system is sized properly, including all of the basins and the long culverts that we've seen in the past in the preliminary. So this takes into account the entire site, not just phase one. And that was done primarily because each phase will be connected with the stormwater. It's not like each phase has its own stormwater maintenance agreement. So in the end, I personally, with quite a bit of experience with stormwater, feel that in the end, it's good to go. We did have a lot of comments at the beginning, but I think that everything has been taken care of. Every year in here, it's mentioned in here that every year the HOA will be responsible for having a professional engineer or someone qualified to review the system in its entirety to ensure that it is working properly, and we will get a copy of that. And then if there's anything that needs maintenance, everything needs maintenance in time. So anything that needs maintenance will need to be addressed by the HOA, and that will be on them to pay for that and take care of it. And they will be, we won't be maintaining this section just like we don't in other subdivisions right now. We'll be maintaining the roads and the culverts only. And what else?
I think you explained it well. This, again, operates similar to the development agreement in that it's going to deal with the entire site unless things change, which we don't expect them to do. This document gives us access to the property if we need it in order to ensure compliance with the stormwater plans that have been approved, which are also attached to this agreement. If there is non-compliance for a certain time period after we've given them notice, we can also levy certain costs against each of the lots to bring them into compliance if we've incurred costs ourselves to do so. Other than that, this is a relatively standard stormwater maintenance agreement that I've seen across an array of communities. I think the only point I want to mention will be on page 2 of this document. There are two paragraphs that are technically highlighted. One is the first paragraph referencing the donation agreement to the Lake Ripley Management Agreement, Lake Ripley Management District, and the date of that agreement needs to be entered into this document. And then this next paragraph is the declaration of covenants and restrictions with regard to phase 1 of the of the site. We need to get that document recording number once that is known, which frankly that'll be the same day as everything else is recorded as well. We'll get that written in. Whether it's handwritten in is fine with me, or we just type it out and then insert that document into the agreement itself. The declaration, just so you all know, is a document that governs the HOA itself and the management of that organization, along with how they deal with the entire site. That document includes not only establishing a board for the HOA, but then also nothing crazy as far as architecture goes, no crazy pink houses with lots of stripes. They got to be keeping within the parameters of the surrounding area, which I've reviewed this document. It does that. And one of the more important items it does include, it gives the board the authority to grant any easements that would need to be granted to the town in the future. If absent that language, there's kind of some ambiguity out there as in statutes and case law that would suggest that you would need the signatures of every lot owner in order to get that easement. We don't need to go through and get 100 signatures potentially one day. Things change over time. Sometimes you may need an easement or other agreement. You want to be able to go to the board and get that done and make things move efficiently. So that's important that that's in that document. But bottom line is, once we get the recording number, that'll go in there. So that'll be part of our motion here tonight, but you got to see those two filled in. Other than that, think we're in good shape.
I'll make a motion, we approve the stormwater maintenance agreement for the Preserve at Oakland, subject to the inclusion, filling in of the 2 blanks on page 2.
No second.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the stormwater maintenance agreement, subject to the filling in of the 2 items on page 2, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. Motion carries.
Thank you all very much for your time. There's a lot of time and diligence on many of your parts, and we appreciate it.
Thank you
Nice
so
We're working
much.
well.
Thank you.
Okay. We are going to move on to number 15, discussion and possible action to grant mobile home licenses for the period July 1st, 2025 to June 30th, 2026. We'll be, voting on at one time for these 3 mobile homes, WICA, Ripview, MHP, at W9194 Ripley Road in Cambridge, Oak Ridge, WI, located at N3525 Tree Leaf Road, that has a Fort Atkinson address, and Breezy Knoll, located at N4510 County Road A.
So moved.
Oh, second.
Okay, any discussion? Hearing none? All in favor of granting the mobile home licenses to these 3 locations, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. We move on to discussion and possible action regarding liquor license for establishments in Oakland for the period of July 1, 2025 through June 30th, 2026. The first we'll be voting on is Class A beer, Class B beer, Class A liquor, and Class B liquor. The Bait Shanty number 2. Did you want to go over?
All of the applications for liquor licenses are in this pile. I did not make copies for each of you individually. If you would like to look at any of them, review them, they are on file in the clerk's office. What I did do is give you a little cheat sheet that says what licenses they're applying for, how many operators, and what they paid for a fee.
That's what these all are.
Yes, this would be.
That's what these are, yep.
And they've all been paid?
They've all been paid, and they've all been, all of the paperwork has been filled out properly for all 10 of the licenses for the Class A beer, Class B beer, Class A liquor, Class B liquor. And for the, yes, all of those license applications have been filled out properly.
I'll make a motion to approve under 16, A, B, C, and D.
Can we do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
We had discussed doing it separately, but that's okay. We can do it
I'll
together?
second it.
Okay.
I think it saves time.
Well,
I haven't eaten.
C is listed as London Depot when it's actually Deerfield Grill, Mink Farm.
Yes, I would like to make that change. I would record it in the minutes. On the agenda, it says London Depot. It should be Deerfield Grill. In the notice, in the paper that was published, it was published correctly as Deerfield Grill.
Okay.
With that correction, I'll continue my motion.
And I'll second it with that correction.
Yeah, it's just for the agenda, so we're good with that. So, so all in favor of approving all of the liquor license listed below with the one change, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries.
Okay. Then we go to cigarette.
Okay, now we're going on to discussion and possible action regarding cigarette license. All devices are covered today for the time period of July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026. And so we have 3, the Lake Ripley Country Club, the Mink Farm Tavern, and the Cash and Olives Pub.
I'll make a motion, we approve those three establishments, LRCC, Mink Farm Tavern, and Catherine House.
I'll second.
Okay, did you want to add anything?
All paperwork has been filled out properly for those licenses.
Okay, so all in, any further discussion? No? Okay, discussion,
All in favor?
we're going so fast. All those in favor of approving the cigarette license for the 3 locations, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Motion carries.
Okay, this item.
So this one we will need to have some discussion on. Discussion and possible action regarding operator's license for the time period of July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026. Susan can speak to that. There is a
list of operators that have applied for licensure for July 1, 25 to June 30, 2026. It is this spreadsheet right here. And all of the individuals on these 2 sheets have been background checked and have passed. So I would recommend approval for all of the operators on this list.
On this list.
On this list.
Okay, now, Mr. Heinrichs tonight, is he not on this
And
list?
he is not on this
Okay,
list. He
perfect.
is separate. We will do
Okay.
that separate.
Okay.
I'll make a motion, we approve everybody that is on the list.
Second.
Okay, a motion, a second. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none. All in favor of approving the operator's license for those on the list provided, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries.
Now, the other operator that we have an individual that has applied for an operator's license. And we had some questions about that because of arrest records. I sent the individual a letter stating that I was going to recommend denial of his operator's license. That letter is in your packet. And in the letter, it says that if this individual wishes to address the board to talk about his application, he can do that, and he is present tonight. And if he would like to come up to the podium and address the board.
Before, you can have a seat. Yeah, before we get into the, John Heinrich's comments here, I just want to give the board kind of an overview of where we're headed with this. As Susan indicated, she's recommended denial, that this is part of a, generally kind of a statutory procedure that is in place for operators' licenses. If an individual comes up on a background check with an offense or an arrest in a pending charge for an offense that substantially relates to the licensed activity, that can be subject to a denial. And it's going to depend on the board's evaluation of the offense itself. Does it in fact substantially relate to the licensed activity, which would be the serving of alcoholic beverages in a retail setting? And then also evaluating the applicant here himself this evening to see if, although there may have been a substantial relation, perhaps that the applicant has shown an ability to rehabilitate himself. It's actually kind of a term of art in order to engage in the licensed activity moving forward for this license year. So we'll have the applicant speak here this evening, and you guys can ask questions of him, evaluate this, have discussion amongst yourselves, and then we can ultimately make a motion depending on the circumstances. But he is entitled to a hearing, which he's getting here this evening. I'll also remind the board too, this is for one license year, which would end January 30th of 2026. The applicant is always welcome to reapply if you were denied this evening as well. So that is still something to keep in mind. This is not something that's permanent. Okay? All right, John?
Okay.
Your statements are welcome.
All right, yes, I was arrested on March 21st, 2025 for my, third OWI. The last time I was arrested for my second was 1994. That day, I decided I was gonna quit drinking prior to my hearings and everything else with the court system. And I have done so. And then when I went to my court, part of my condition was put on the scram unit, which I'm currently on. It opened my eyes a little bit with the third conviction, or third arrest, I should say. And it's been quite nice not to have any alcohol while I've been working or any other time. It's improved my demeanor, my behavior, and my mental attitude on things. I'm looking just to ask, I know that there's other people that in this area, Dane County, Jefferson County, that have 3 OWIs, convictions, and they get their license. So I'm just looking to see if I can have mine. I can speak with my owner, who's behind me, that if I can have my license and stay employed with him at Lake Ripley Inn, I will not consume any alcohol even after either I'm not convicted or I am convicted. About all I really have to say. I mean,
So that charge, John, is still pending? Hasn't got
Correct.
through the courts yet?
We go July 14th, I think we go again for another hearing or something or other. But we had the initial hearing on April 21st.
Did you plead yet?
Not
or-
guilty.
What's that?
Not guilty,
You pleaded not guilty?
correct,
Okay,
through my attorney,
okay.
And what county is this in?
Jefferson.
Okay.
And one of the conditions, would you just inform the board, you said, was it scram? Is that what I heard you say?
Scram unit, yes.
Okay, and can you explain to the board what that,
Yeah.
okay, just an
Ankle
ankle bracelet?
It's an
Okay,
ankle bracelet.
understood. So you can go to work and you can be at home, is that?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can be anywhere. It does reading every 30 minutes or whatever through your sweat or whatever. I just can't go swimming, take a bath. I can shower with, it showers on. I mean, you cannot, if you manipulate it or try to do anything to it, it'll
Yep.
send them off. I have to go into a weekly reading that they monitor it and do everything with it.
And what are your locations that you're restricted to? Is that part of? None, okay, it's just more of to monitor where you're,
Alcohol,
oh,
just alcohol.
oh, it is,
intake.
okay, it is monitoring your alcohol intake?
Correct.
That device, okay,
Correct. I can't use mouthwash because it has alcohol in it.
yep,
Can't drink non-alcoholic beer because that has alcohol in it, that'll register. There's a lot of things you cannot do with it on because of it. I can't even have beer dip, bourbon balls,
Okay.
none of that stuff. I mean,
understood.
I gotta watch what is made with, cooked with wine and everything else, because it will
Okay.
show up.
And that device will be on at least until your next hearing, right?
It'll be on either through conviction or release.
So it's not a bail monitoring, it's not an ankle bracelet for bail?
No, it's for alcohol intake.
Okay.
So I have a question for Michael then. So as far as the legalities of this whole thing, he's innocent until proven guilty.
Yep.
So is this something we would revisit upon a later date, or how does this move
Yeah,
forward?
no, it's a interesting point you bring up, but you can consider the arrest record of somebody, which would include a pending charge, and you can also consider any convictions that they would have received. So the fact that there is a pending charge right now for an OWI is something that you could consider, even if he's pleaded not guilty and he's presumed innocent until found guilty. So if that's something you want to contemplate further, though, knowing that he's still presumed innocent until found guilty, the board can absolutely do that. If you want to head in that direction, I can help guide you.
Yeah, I mean, I just give an example. I was on a jury trial in Jefferson County last year, and a person was arrested for DWI and he got off. I mean, get off might not be the right word, but he was presumed, he was considered innocent by a
Mhm.
jury. So, you know,
Yep.
how you,
Different standard here, remember, in that case, that's a criminal situation beyond a reasonable doubt, okay? Here, we're talking about just an operator license for an individual to serve alcohol
oh, yeah.
in a retail setting. Totally different spheres,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
There was also something in your packet about substantial relationship, because this individual will be working with alcohol.
How do you feel?
I'm kind of flying blind.
Would you just state your name and address for the record, just so we have it?
John Herring,
Oh.
I own the Lake Ripley on Highway 8 here. I'm flying blind. I don't know a lot about the situation. I came here to, with advice from my attorney, to come and try to gather as much information as I can. We haven't had a conversation about this. I came on my own accord, just trying to figure out what's going on.
Fair enough.
So, I'm supporting whatever your decision is.
So your previous conviction before this arrest was in 1994?
Correct.
And when was your first conviction?
92, I believe it was.
In what?
92, I believe it was.
92 and 94, and then this arrest in 2025?
Correct.
But because now you don't, they consider all your convictions
Correct.
now at this
Correct.
time?
Correct.
A
Since I
previous
think
arrest,
88 or something
yeah,
like that.
that hadn't always been the case,
Correct.
but that had changed,
Correct. From my understanding, yes.
yes.
That's for purposes too of driving record. For our purposes tonight, I would focus just on the one in 2025, and not the two that would have occurred in 1990. Had we had offenses that were 2021, 2023, and
Recent.
2020, then we would be reviewing
Yeah,
those
I wouldn't
collectively.
have any doubt then.
Right, we mean, we obviously approved your liquor license before, and
Correct.
those were there. I'm assuming you admitted to those then.
Correct.
So we've approved them as a board before with
Yeah.
those two on there.
Right, I know.
So good point, Mike.
We've approved ones that are recent, if it's just been one even in the past. I mean,
Yeah, I understand that, and that's my point, is that he hasn't been convicted for 20,
25.
almost
31
30
years.
years.
Right.
31 years.
31.
So,
But it is something very recent, you know, that there's been some issues.
Right.
You know, so the concern would be, you know, you're surrounding yourself with alcohol. Are you working right now? You
Yes.
know? So I guess the concern would be at an establishment, you're working, drinking, leaving, what would be
well,
the,
he's got the bracelet on.
but we don't know how, do you know how long this would stay on? Was this a,
It all depends on what happens with all the hearings. You know, I mean, it'll stay on until I'm, you know, either convicted or, you know, released.
Can,
Do we have to approve a full year? Do we have to do it all at once, or how does this work?
Usually that's what it is, the normal procedure is to approve for a year.
is it possible to ask what his test was?
His test,
For what?
The alcohol, blood
the
alcohol?
blood, yeah, if he's willing to answer.
What, do you know what you
I
tested?
believe it's .15.
So you were a bit over.
Yeah.
It's .08.
Correct.
Almost twice.
But, I don't know.
Can I speak?
Yeah. Oh, well, Laura?
Please.
yes, please.
The way liquor license, maybe the lawyer can help me out on this. The way the liquor license uses a licensed bartender, you don't need to be licensed as long as there's somebody licensed on premise. So whenever his court date is,
court date, he could reapply, correct?
I think so,
Yep.
yeah.
It would be for a partial year, yes.
Yeah. And then he could deal with it the rest, whatever happens after his court date, it would come up for, kind of like a new bartender, come and apply for a license.
I will say that statement is all true, except that he just cannot serve alcohol in the retail transaction
Okay.
if he doesn't have an operator license, and there's someone else that has an operator license. He has to have one himself in order to engage in the retail serving. But that doesn't mean that he doesn't take a food order
Right.
or doesn't do dishes or works in any other capacity within the restaurant. He just can't be the one to say, okay, vodka tonic, got it, let me go get that for you, here's your vodka tonic,
Okay.
and exchange the money. Yeah.
Misunderstood.
Mhm.
So serving alcohol has not affected your ankle bracelet?
No. It's
Even
not, 'cause
though
I'm
you
not
may
consuming
touch it?
I can touch it, I can spill it on my hand, it's, which happens,
Maybe get one.
but you just cannot consume it.
But then if it goes off, if you get the bracelet off after your court appearance, they'll decide at that point whether it can come off or not.
Correct.
And then you'll be without it at that point. Is there a liability to not only the owner of the establishment, but the town board for issuing this? Would we be held in any liability?
I don't see you all being liable in the sense if you place conditions on the granting of it, if it related to that ankle bracelet, because you basically have scientific proof that he has not consumed alcohol, and you have a way to prevent that, because frankly, if he violates that, he's going to go to jail.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Exactly.
what I was just
Yes.
going to
Right.
say. He's
Yeah.
not
Right.
going to be able to work anyway
Yeah.
because he'll be in jail.
Yes.
Right, but at the same time, this license goes until June 30th, 2026, so we don't know if that ankle bracelet's going to be on until the end of
Well,
that term.
if he's convicted, he'll be in prison because it's a felony.
Yes, I understand, but if he's not, then the bracelet comes off.
Then he's innocent.
Oops.
True. Yeah, if
He's not convicted.
if he was,
This goes away.
well, he could be convicted of his third OWI. They could release him, he could pay a large forfeiture, and that could be the sentence he gets. He could go spend a certain amount of time to jail. He's facing a misdemeanor, it's either 30 or 60 days, I think, that he could get as a maximum. I doubt he gets that. So, I mean, or he's found innocent and the bracelet comes off, like Tom said, and then frankly, there's nothing to talk about at that point in time, because he wouldn't have had such a charge.
All right, Michael, what do you recommend?
You've got two options. One, I think you have a valid basis to deny tonight, because the offense substantially relates to the license activity, straight up. That's one option for you guys. If you're inclined to entertain approving this, I would say that that approval could be subject to the ongoing wearing of that ankle bracelet until there's the disposition of your case, and that you provide a monthly report to the clerk that confirms compliance with that. I would imagine Jefferson County gives you some kind of receipt or something that
Just a receipt that I paid,
that you paid, and
because I have to pay every week.
yeah, I can tell you that if you could provide that receipt, a copy of it, just a
Yeah.
copy, to the clerk, if he doesn't show up, that can be a basis, one, for the revocation of the license, or two, he's in jail, and it doesn't matter anymore, and then the license could be revoked at that point in time. That could be an avenue for the board, and you could also choose to revisit this halfway through the year if you'd like to evaluate for overall compliance with the conditions too.
Well, I'm all in favor for, second chances and rehab and all that. Fully understand where you're at. So I prefer that second option versus a complete denial, personally.
Okay.
So do
I
I.
think it gives him a chance to do what he needs to do in his life and in his situation, and it also protects us as a board. That's just me, though.
Rest of the board?
I agree with Jimmy.
Is that
I
something
just
you're
have a
willing to do?
curiosity. I'd like to ask you if it's all right. And if I'm out of line, stop me right away. I had 3 brothers that died of alcohol. And I have one that's in a situation real similar to yours. And I'm just curious, is this been your life, this is what you've done as your occupation your entire life?
I've done it for 38 years. I bartended.
So,
I just retired 2 years ago from my full-time job. And then I've worked part-time at Herring's Lake Ripley Inn for, I forget how many years. I'd have to go back and do the records on how many times I've applied for licenses through them. And I currently work full-time at Town Inn, one of his other establishments in Jefferson.
just my own curiosity, because I'm like, for myself, I was a bartender for years too. But for me, if I had a problem, I think I need to step totally away. I would want to step totally away from it. Just
Thought I was gonna have to, but
You-
to
you
me,
said-
it's kinda nice because I can still see the people and interact with them, and, you know, I don't, now lately, I just don't need it. I
Good.
mean, and it's kinda nice, you know, 'cause
And your
you have a
honesty.
crappy day and you just don't, I don't need it anymore.
Okay. Your honesty.
Might have an
and
extra
your-
cigarette or two, but.
Okay. Thank you. That just
You're welcome.
helps me a little bit with,
Right.
like I say, I had many relatives, being from a German background, I think we had beer in our baby bottle, and it's just something that's hard to wrap your fingers around, and so many people have destroyed their lives with it.
Right.
Well, I'm willing to approve it with these restrictions that Michael mentioned.
Okay,
And those restrictions would be the receipt?
yep, the providing of the receipt
Scram
every
receipt.
time, yep.
Yep.
Did you say it was on every week?
Weekly?
Every
Bas-
Thursday I go.
Every Thursday? All right, does the board want to see this every Thursday?
I think that's a good start, and I also would like to see a revisit of this maybe in 6 months.
Okay,
I think that kind of gives us another look to see where everybody's at.
Right.
Okay, so it would not be, so the motion would be from July 1st, 2025 through like January 1st, 2020.
Or the January meeting, which would be the 20th or something like that,
Yeah.
our regular January
Okay.
meeting.
Okay. Is that your motion?
That's my motion, yeah. You agree to that, John?
Yeah.
That'll work?
okay. And you're agreeable too that if you violate these conditions, that you'll surrender your operator's license and it'll be officially revoked? Okay.
Okay, so it's, so the motion is to approve with the conditions of revisiting this at our January 2026 meeting, and submitting to the clerk your weekly receipts for your scram. And if those are, if that is violated, you will, your license will be revoked. Anything
Yeah,
further?
and not only revoked, but the applicant will also agree to surrender that operator's license as well.
Okay, then they're surrendered.
Is that good?
Yeah, I think so.
I'll second that then.
And could you just state for the record, you agree to all those terms?
I agree to all them terms.
Okay,
Okay,
good.
all right. So we have a motion, did you
Second over here.
Oh,
second.
Tom
Nope.
already did?
No, I didn't.
Oh, I'll
Tom.
second it.
I would have.
Tom and
You
Joy.
beat me to it.
Tom and Joy, okay. It got complicated. Okay, so all in favor of the motion as we just talked about, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries.
Thank you.
So you're set.
Best
Thank
of luck
you.
to you.
Good luck.
Good luck, Laura. Do you need me for anything else? or can I head out?
No, you're fine.
All right,
Thank
I
you.
got a little bit longer drive here.
Yeah, we all have 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming.
Yes, absolutely. All right, everybody, I'm gonna
Thank you.
take off.
Thank you.
Thanks, Michael, for coming.
Thank you.
Yep.
Michael, I need that mic back.
It's pretty good on me.
Oh, you dare take that home.
Makes me
Oh,
feel
you
really
dare take that
official.
home.
Just leave it on the table.
Start hearing conversations with me and my wife tonight. Oh, my goodness. All right, good night, everybody.
Good evening.
Thank you.
Thanks, Michael.
Okay, so we'll move on to Enridge
Oh,
report.
no,
No,
this is
Ripley
the
ride.
Ripley
Oh,
ride.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
My apologies. Discussion and possible action on temporary Class B retail license for Cambridge Area Lions Club for July 26, 2025,
That's on
which
the
is the
amended agenda.
2025 Ripley Ride.
I'll make a motion, we approve the temporary Class B retail license for the
I'll
Lions.
second.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, hearing none. All in favor of the temporary Class B retail license for the Lions Club, say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Now we're
Motion,
voting.
motion carries. Okay. So the Enbridge update, a lot is going on there at the moment. So they collected surface water samples. GEI, the Enbridge's consultants, did along with the Lake District on June 6th, and the samples were analyzed separately.
Yeah.
The Lake District hasn't received their test results yet, but GEI just received their results and has verbally stated that there were no VOCs detected. And then once they have some time, they will be submitting that to DNR within the 10-day requirement period. Enbridge also tested all the private wells within the half-mile radius. There are 10 residents and 1 business, and again, no PVCs or PAHs were detected in those, so those are all good findings. They're continuing the product removal that we talked about last time, so they're going out there weekly for that. They're collecting that from the riser pipes near the spill location, and to date, approximately 160 gallons have been removed. So they'll be continuing to do that until, it just doesn't seem like they're getting anything collected from that. And so last week, the week of the 9th, they started with some other activities that were in their site plan, which included the high-resolution site characterization, and as well as direct soil boring samplings. So that was just last week. Nothing has been submitted with that. So then the GEI has indicated that the high-resolution results confirmed the general delineation of the contamination plume, and that it's the same as what they had shown before. And so they will be continuing to put a report together for that. So they had that throughout the site, these borings. And then at 10 of the locations that they did for the soil borings, this week and next, they're going to be putting in groundwater monitoring wells for collection of groundwater samples that they'll be doing quarterly. So at the 10 wells, they're going to be screened at the groundwater table so they can see if there's any product floating on the groundwater table. And at 4 of the 10 locations, they're also installing a deeper well that'll go just above the bedrock, and that will be screened right there to see if there's any kind of vertical migration. And then with all of the rest of the monitoring wells, the 10 shallower ones along with the 4 existing ones, then they can get a better idea, horizontally speaking, what is going to be happening. And so after they install it, they will collect groundwater samples that will be submitted, and then they will be on a quarterly monitoring schedule along with the the surface water and the private wells. So they'll be collecting all that at once. Once all of this is done, they will be submitting a huge report with, once all of the monitoring wells in the first groundwater sampling round is completed. So we can expect that at some point. And then they are also installing the soil vapor extraction pilot well, and they'll be completing the pilot testing this summer. And so they have some of these riser pipes throughout the area, and so they'll be, basically it is using a vacuum and sucking out all the air, seeing the results of that, how much can come out, and this will help them to set up the whole SVE, soil vapor extraction remediation system, where the wells are going to be, the depths of those wells, all of the suction power that will be on them, and so that'll be submitted at some point, maybe in the fall, it sounds like. And so that's what's going on there right now. It does not look like anything has gone off-site, and it's
And there's
pretty-
still a lot of eyes on it, so.
There's still a
It's great
huge-
news.
Yeah, a lot of eyes on it. The DNR's going out there every week. They're submitting weekly updates on what they're accomplishing each week. It is on the BERTs on the web, the DNR website, so anybody can go on there and look at any report that's been submitted to date. There are reporting requirements, like I said, for this, that they will have to submit at their proper times, and they have to be following their approved site work plan. And so once they have all these wells in, we'll have a lot more information about what it looks like, even a more complete idea of what is happening on the site. And based on that, this may not be the end. They may decide that they have to install other monitoring wells. GEI may recommend it, or the DNR reviewing the report may recommend something else. They may not. And then they may not right now, but over time, that might change. As contamination, if it migrates, then they might have to revise their plan. So, it's a fluid system, and but everyone is keeping a close eye on it. So that's what I have, but there are good news as far as there's nothing in the stream, nothing in the wells, and it looks like from their soil sampling done on the week of the 9th, all of those surrounding areas on the site, they have not been contaminated. So it's all good results so far.
How long are they testing the wells within a half a mile?
They will just be continuing to do that on a quarterly basis. There is no definitive stop at this time.
How far is the new development from?
Oh, much more than
It's
a half
more than a
mile.
half a mile from there?
Yes.
Doesn't seem like that far away.
Yeah. But yeah,
Walk it.
it wasn't in it wasn't in the half mile radius. You look at the map. So there, a lot of it to the south. That's the direction of the groundwater flow. It's believed to be. There are houses there. So
Okay.
yeah,
Thank
yeah, but
you.
they'll
Thanks,
continue.
Thank you.
The Lake District is monitoring with the town also, and everyone else, so we're very involved with the whole process.
Yes,
So
yes.
anything alarming would ever come up, we'd be the first to.
And Leanna will get her test results back soon, and then, and then if they should come out the same. If at some point it doesn't,
Yeah, we independently test with a different
Independently test.
source and the whole thing.
So if something doesn't match up, it'll have to be revisited. Maybe additional samples need to be tested. So yeah, it's a good checks and balances for that.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So we'll move on then to approval of disbursements.
I'll make a motion, we approve disbursements, beginning with electronic funds transfer to the Wisconsin Retirement System, through and including check number 1357 to Wolf Paving in the aggregate amount of $116,709.54.
Okay.
Second?
A motion, a second. Any questions about it? Okay, hearing none. All in favor of approval of disbursement, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Correspondence?
There is some Lake Mills Fire Department reports, and then there was something from it's a notice that Jefferson County is going to be amending one of their comprehensive plans on farmland preservation. There is a public hearing on Thursday of this week, but that hearing you can attend, but Jefferson County does not need any approvals from the town. It's just letting us know that that's happening.
And what time is that on Thursday?
It is at 7 o'clock
Okay,
at the courthouse.
at the courthouse. I'm sure it's upstairs in the county boardroom. Okay. Any other announcements? Okay. Future agenda items, we'll have at some point the short-term rental and anything.
Can we get that on just for discussion, the next agenda?
If it's done. It's not done yet. Well, it's,
The ordinance draft.
right, it's, Laura Lowry was taking all of the comments from you and from Sheila, and then she looked at Polk County in northern Wisconsin and Lake Geneva.
I got the information from Town of Sumner.
And the town of Sumner, and she was going to put something together, but she has not got that.
So she's working on revising the agenda, or the ordinance?
She was working on putting some of those things together. Yes.
So we'll need, if we don't have an ordinance together fully, we could potentially, if we have all the other information that we will need to see if we have everything included, we'll need to have all the information included to make sure that we're addressing everything of concerns with the ordinance.
If we can get it on just for discussion, I mean, I was surprised at how many rentals there are in town of Oakland, and I'm sure people aren't aware of it.
Well,
So
let's,
we could get it on for discussion as far as that goes as well.
okay, so we'll take a look at all the information we have and make sure we have all the information needed. Please get back to Joy if there's some other information that we should have for discussion.
And we should probably get together and talk about it.
Okay.
Because we went through and answered all your questions that you had
Okay,
listed.
I just haven't seen that, so,
Yeah, I haven't shared anything.
so we'll
Because
take a
we've
look
been
at that for
working on
next
other
month.
Laura, just one thing I'd like to bring up.
Sure.
Lately, we've had some complaints with garbage pickup, and I don't know if this needs to be an agenda item, but if it does, we probably should.
Okay.
But I'm being informed that we have no one that's answering phone calls, there's no one to call, or they're just not picking up, so, and the services aren't appearing to be the same as what they were. And I've noticed a few down on my end, so we probably gonna have to revisit this, because LRS got bought out by
GRF.
GFL.
GFL.
Again?
Yeah,
They sold
so-
again? I didn't
So
know that.
Susan has been looking into that.
I know Susan's been working on calling them, and they're not returning, and it's been
And
on
I
hold
got
forever.
somebody today.
You got somebody today?
I did.
Okay.
Okay, so let's work on that this week, next week, and try to see where we're at with everyone's concerns. So we need to make sure that our service is the same as in our contract. So if it is,
And who do we call if there's a problem? 'Cause
Right.
before, we were able to call somebody,
right,
and they responded
right.
typically.
So let's see if we need to have a discussion on that, if we can't resolve it now, that there's somebody to talk to, and maybe we could put on the website the contact information.
Correct, because we have a page that is in progress for the garbage and recycling, but we didn't have all of the information that we needed. We finally got it today.
Okay, so let's get that on the website, so then people can call if they need to, and yeah, if we don't get any resolution with them, we'll have to
Yeah, just wanted to
talk
bring it
about
up,
that.
so. Thank you.
Thank you.
Did you ever talk to Badger Solar about possibly coming to a meeting?
I did, they weren't able to come this month, and so I asked them if they could come to July or future meetings.
Good, thank
So,
you.
yes, I did do that, sorry I didn't mention that, but yes, they
Thank you.
will, I have asked for that. Anything else?
No.
Okay. All right, so our next meeting date is July 15th.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, so moved. We're set.
Stack